It's so long.
Hello, Equality Maine. My name is Tommy Waltz, and my pronouns are he, him, and his.
And I'm Thomas Smallwood. I also use he, him, and his pronouns. We are so honored to serve as your host tonight as we join together from the comfort of home for our 2020 virtual gala to support the critical work that Equality Maine is doing to continue the fight for full equality for each and every one of us.
That's right. We know that the past 6 months have been some of the most stressful times that any of us have ever experienced. And on behalf of everyone at Equality Maine, we want you to know how grateful we are for you taking the time to be with us tonight.
Time and time again, our community has shown its resilience in the face of adversity, and 2020 is no different. While we clearly would all rather be sitting together at the ballroom at the Holiday Inn, we're really looking forward to making the most of tonight.
One of the great things about a virtual gala is that anyone can join us from anywhere.
Yeah.
We've got people watching from across the country. So, hello everyone out there in Cyberland.
Tommy! Oh.
I'm right here. Okay.
This would be a really good time to let people know that if you're watching us on Facebook, either share our video feed on your page or click the Start a Watch Party button to invite your friends to watch with you. The more people watching, the more people will know about the wonderful, powerful work Equality Maine is doing, and the more people will get to see us.
And we do love an audience.
Yes, yes.
And whether you're watching on Facebook or on our website, be sure to use the chat room to say hello. Let us know where you're watching from. Equality Maine staff is also on the chat and will share additional info throughout the night. Also, keep posting those pictures to Instagram using the hashtag EQME together. We'll check in with our red carpet correspondent, Clams Casino, in a little bit.
As we begin our evening together, it is important for us to acknowledge that the land we are collectively gathering on from home today is the original tribal homelands of the Wabanaki Confederacy, currently comprised of 4 tribes in Maine: the Penobscot, Passamaquoddy, Maliseet, and Micmac. We acknowledge the painful history of genocide and forced removal from this territory, and we honor and respect the many diverse indigenous peoples still connected to this land on which we gather. Colonialism is a current ongoing process, and we are working to build our mindfulness of that, our present participation in that. Thank you. And thank you to Geo Neptune for their help with this acknowledgement.
We also want to extend our congratulations to Geo for recently being elected to the school board on Indian Island. Geo made history 3 weeks ago by becoming the first out, two-spirit, transgender, non-binary person elected to public office in Maine. Amazing, Geo. Congratulations.
I stand before you, a 42-year-old gay black man, and yes, my life matters. Oscar Hammerstein wrote, "The love in your heart wasn't put there to stay. Love isn't love till you give it away." So to all my fellow black and brown brothers and sisters watching, I love you. To all of you and my big extended LGBTQ plus family, I love you. And to all of our straight allies watching us tonight, yes, I love you too. These are some truly dark times we're living in. But if we all live life with hearts full of love, that beautiful light at the end of the tunnel won't seem so far away.
I come to our shared space tonight as a psychotherapist. I've witnessed immense pain during these dark times. Our greatest challenge comes from the lack of context, choice, and connection. I'd like to validate and advocate for mental health care. Now, more than ever, we need support to name and tame our struggles. Your pain is real, and your well-being matters. Challenge is all too familiar for our community, and yet we keep marching. We find ways to stay connected, and tonight's gala is an example of that unyielding fight. We are most resilient when we stand together.
As we gather tonight, exactly 1 month from the most important election of our lifetime, and 2 weeks after the passing of our beloved champion for equality, U.S. Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, we can't stress enough how critically important it is to do everything you possibly can do to save our democracy. Equality Maine has been leading the fight toward full equality here at home for the past 36 years. And we've made amazing progress. But too much is at stake this November. We cannot allow for that progress to be dismantled, and there's still so much more to do.
That's right. And it may sound cliche to ask you to vote like your life depends on it, but we implore you to think about the most vulnerable in our communities as you cast your ballot at every level, local, state, and federal. When you vote, remember you are voting to protect our youth, our elders, our trans and non-binary community, Black, brown, indigenous, and other people of color, immigrants and refugees, and women.
And be sure to make your plan to vote if you haven't yet. I requested my absentee ballot last month. I'm ready. Are you?
Well, I'm ready. And I'm ready to get this show on the road. Yes, but there's a couple of logistics that we want to make sure we cover first. If you're joining us on Facebook, make sure you share your video on your feed, our video on your feed, and start a watch party to invite your friends to join us. Please remember that we're here tonight to support Equality Maine and make sure they have the resources they need to continue their work on behalf of all of us. We'll hear from the Equality Maine staff in a little bit to let you know about the work they're doing across the state. Now, there are 2 ways for you to donate tonight. If you're watching on the Equality Maine website, click the donate button on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. If you're watching on Facebook, go to www.equalitymaine.org/donate.
Lastly, we want to take a moment to thank all of our sponsors and members of our host committee for their generous support of our first ever virtual gala. Special thanks to our presenting sponsors, the Crew Foundation, our visionary annual sponsor, Central Maine Power, and our champion annual sponsors, Bangor Savings Bank and Hannaford Supermarket.
So, without further ado, we've got a great program in store for you as we celebrate the successes of the past year and we recharge for the road ahead. Just like galas past, we've got some speeches, some awards, and some Viva! Yes. But first, we've got a little something special that we've whipped up to get us started. Let's do it.
Wherever we go, whatever we do, we're gonna go through it together. We may not go far,
But sure as a star,
wherever we are, it's together. Wherever I go, I know he goes.
wherever I go, I know he goes.
No fits, no fights, no feuds, and no egos. Amigos together. We make it through thin, all out or all in. And whether it's win, place, or show, with you for me
And me for you,
we'll muddle through whatever we do together, wherever we go.
Let's do it again. It feels so good, right?
Here we go.
Take it away.
Wherever we go,
Hey, whatever we do.
we're gonna go through it together. We may not go far,
But sure as a star,
wherever we are, it's together.
wherever I go, I know he goes.
Wherever I go, I know he goes.
That's right.
No fits, no fights, no feuds, and no egos. Amigos together. All right, let's bring it on. Through thick and through thin, all out or all in, and whether it's win, place, or show, with you for me
And me for you,
we'll muddle through whatever we do together, wherever we go. Together.
Oh, okay, now we can get on with the show. It is my pleasure to introduce our first special guest. Her leadership and compassion over the past 2 years have been so refreshing after the bullying and bigotry of her predecessor in the Blaine House. We have seen unprecedented progress with the support of her administration and look forward to continued progress together. Please join me in welcoming from her home, Governor Janet Mills.
Hello, Equality Maine. First, let me be the first to say I love the theme of your gala this year. While I wish I could be with you in person, I am so honored to be together at home with all of you to celebrate Maine's progress in advancing LGBTQ equality. Last year, Maine truly was a national leader for equality. We prohibited transgender exclusions in health insurance plans, an effort led by our own speaker, Sara Gideon. We banned the gay and trans panic defense. We updated gender identity protections in the Maine Human Rights Act. We simplified the process for trans and non-binary people to obtain accurate birth certificates, and we prohibited and banned the harmful practice of conversion therapy, among other important changes. I was also proud to host the first ever Pride reception at my home, the Blaine House, in 2019, and I can't wait to welcome you all back here again when it is safe to do so. Now, despite the progress we've made here in Maine, members of the LGBTQ community in the United States and around the world still face unacceptable levels of discrimination, violence, and purposeful rollbacks of statewide and federal protections. My administration is committed to continuing our work to advance equality for LGBTQ friends, family, and neighbors. But we need leaders in Washington who will stand by our side. Leaders like Speaker Sara Gideon, a proven ally in the long fight for full equality for all. Our progress last year would not have been possible without pro-equality lawmakers in the state legislature. And future progress in Maine and across the nation depend on pro-equality lawmakers at every level of local, state, and federal government. The balance of the U.S. Supreme Court, which has been at the forefront of decisions impacting LGBTQ people nationwide, rests on a knife's edge. This November, equality is on the ballot. So please join me in voting for equality this November. You can request your absentee ballot now at the Maine Secretary of State's office website. In my administration, please remember, you'll always find an open door, an open mind, and an open heart. Please stay safe. Thank you for all you do. On behalf of the people of Maine, thank you.
Thank you, Governor Mills. We are so grateful for all you do for Maine and for our community. Our next guests are two of our greatest allies in the fight for full equality on the federal level. They are currently advocating for nationwide non-discrimination protections for LGBTQ Americans through the passage of the Equality Act and working to resist rollbacks of the Obama-era protections of our transgender community. Please welcome Congresswoman Chellie Pingree and Congressman Jared Golden.
Hi, I'm Congresswoman Chellie Pingree. Thank you for inviting me to your annual gala. While it's disappointing we can't join together in person, I'm glad we have a chance to celebrate EqualityMaine's work and reflect together about the work we must do in the future. Since January 2017, the Trump administration has only worsened issues facing LGBTQ individuals, whether it's his misguided transgender military ban, attacks on LGBTQ folks in healthcare, or discrimination in housing. As you know, there is no federal law that protects individuals from discrimination based on sex, sexual orientation, or gender identity. We're lucky that in Maine, there are laws that bar discrimination based on sexual orientation, but in some states, a same-sex couple can get married one day and denied housing the next. Federal policymakers clearly have work to do to protect LGBTQ individuals. That's why I was so proud to vote for H.R. 5, the Equality Act, in May of 2019. This legislation would prohibit discrimination of LGBTQ people in education, federal funding, housing, jury selection, and public accommodations, a long overdue list of legal protections. Having guaranteed protections for LGBTQ Americans means we value the health, safety, and dignity of our neighbors. I'm disappointed that the Senate has refused to act on this legislation, but I hope that come November, there is a mandate to act on legislation that protects LGBTQ Americans. We must stand together and recognize the civil rights of all Americans, no matter who they love or how they identify. I'm proud to do this work alongside you all. Thank you.
Welcome and hello to everyone at Equality Maine. I wish that I was going to be there with you in person like we were last fall, but certainly these are different trying times, right? So thanks for all the work from the people at Equality Maine, the staff, but also all the volunteers for a very important organization. We got a important couple of months ahead of us here as we move into the campaign season. Get out there and vote for the issues that matter most to you. And one of the things that I hope we're going to be able to do in the next Congress is pass the Equality Act, not only through the House as we did in this last Congress, but get it through both the House and the Senate. That would be monumentally important, and that's part of what I'm sure you're all going to be thinking about when you go out there to vote this fall.
Thank you, Congresswoman Pingree and Congressman Golden. Equality Maine is proud to endorse both of you in this November's election and look forward to working with you to pass the Equality Act once and for all. We have one more special guest that we're thrilled to have join us all the way from her home in Wisconsin. U.S. Senator Tammy Baldwin is a true trailblazer. In 1998, she was the first out woman elected to Congress, and in 2012, she became the first out person ever elected to the U.S. Senate. Please join me in giving a big Maine hello to Senator Tammy Baldwin.
Hi, Equality Maine. My name is Tammy Baldwin, and I'm a United States Senator from Wisconsin and was the founding co-chair of the Congressional Equality Caucus. I'm so honored to join you for your annual gala. When I became the first openly gay senator in our nation's history, I understood that this opportunity needed to be used to make a difference in people's lives. That's why I ran in the first place, not to make history, but to make a difference. Now, I've been following the great work of Equality Maine and its predecessor, the Maine Lesbian Gay Political Alliance, ever since I met your co-founder, Dale McCormick, and that was back in the early 1990s. Our progress during this time has been remarkable, but we still have so much work to do to reach full equality in America. Too many LGBTQ Americans are left at the mercy of an inadequate patchwork of state and local laws. And in a majority of our states, LGBTQ people live without fully inclusive non-discrimination laws in employment, housing, public accommodations, and more. The COVID pandemic has laid bare many of the systemic inequalities that exist in our society, especially for communities of color and members of the LGBTQ community. That's why this presidential election is so important, and it's why we must elect Joe Biden as our next president. Because as we build back our economy, our healthcare system, our justice system, and our country, we need to make sure that all voices are heard. Thank you so much for all your important work, and onward to November.
Well, yes, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, Senator Baldwin, and for your leadership on behalf of so many of us. And yes, we are all gearing up for this November, and we're ready to elect Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Every election cycle, Equality Maine works hard to elect pro-equality leaders that will have our backs and work for real change in Augusta and Washington, D.C. It is my pleasure to introduce Equality Maine's Executive Director, Matt Moonen, to give us an update on all of the progress we've made this year and what's at stake in this November's election.
Thank you so much, Thomas, and good evening, everyone. My name is Matt Moonen. My pronouns are he, him, and his, and I have the great honor of serving as the Executive Director of Equality Maine. I'm really sorry that we're unable to be together in person tonight, but I'm grateful that you are joining us to celebrate our community and our progress and to look towards the work ahead. The last time we held our annual gala was April of 2019. It was an exciting time as we were coming off an election that produced pro-equality majorities in the State House and Senate, and for the first time in 8 years, a pro-equality governor. At that time, I promised that we would seize the moment and pursue an aggressive agenda that would bring about long overdue change for our community. Tonight, I'm proud to say that we did exactly that. The very first bill of the legislative session, LD1, was a pro-LGBT bill. It enshrined in state law many of the key provisions of the Affordable Care Act, including a prohibition on exclusions for trans health care, which means that so many transgender Mainers will be able to get the care that they need when they need it. Next, we brought back our bill to protect LGBTQ youth from the harmful practice of conversion therapy. For the second time in 2 years, it passed with strong bipartisan support, but this time, Governor Janet Mills signed it into law. We also took on criminal justice reform, supporting a bill to prohibit profiling by law enforcement on the basis of race, ethnicity, sexual orientation or gender identity, national origin, and other protected classes. And we passed a bill prohibiting the use of the gay or trans panic defense in criminal cases. We also passed legislation to update the Maine Human Rights Act's protections based on gender identity, and to require that public places designate all single occupancy restrooms as gender neutral. We passed a bill prohibiting life, disability income, and long-term care insurers from denying coverage to folks on PrEP. And we passed a bill making it easier for trans folks to safely pursue a legal name change without having to publish it in the newspaper. Even with all of that going on in the legislature, we still got very important things done through rulemaking. Working with the Mills administration, we updated MaineCare rules to remove the exclusion for trans health and officially provide coverage for medically necessary care for transgender Mainers. We followed that by working with the Secretary of State's office to allow Mainers to select their appropriate gender marker, including non-binary, on driver's licenses without requiring approval from a medical provider. Finally, we worked with the Office of Vital Records to add an X-gender marker option on birth certificates and to allow for changing a gender marker without medical provider certification. I want to thank GLAAD, the ACLU of Maine, the Maine Women's Lobby, and MaineTransNet for their partnership on all of that work, all of that important change that we accomplished in a little over a year. But it wasn't all work and no fun. We also had the first ever Pride reception at the Blaine House. This is the kind of change that is possible when we have pro-equality leadership at every level. Now, as we all know, the story in Washington is very different. The Trump administration's attacks on LGBTQ Americans have been relentless. They have banned transgender people from serving in our armed forces, fired all the members of the Presidential Advisory Council on HIV and AIDS, established a new policy that would allow healthcare providers to refuse treatment to LGBTQ patients. And their administration has resulted in the lifetime appointment of anti-LGBTQ extremists to numerous federal judgeships around the country, including to the US Supreme Court. All of that relentless assault, was before. And then COVID happened, and we all know how that's going. I wish I could say it was just mismanagement or incompetence on the part of the Trump administration, but it's more than that. It's a casual indifference to illness and death. And of course, wishful thinking that this would just magically disappear. Our community has seen this before. We know what it's like for the government to turn a blind eye while tens of thousands in our community succumb to a deadly virus. And now everyone else is seeing what that is like too. And then there was George Floyd, one in a long line of unarmed black people murdered at the hands of the police. But this time was different because the nation watched it happen on video, all 8 minutes and 46 seconds of it. We must remember that the LGBTQ movement was sparked when our community rose up against constant harassment and abuse at the hands of the police and fought for our liberation. Stonewall was a riot, and we must stand with those who are rising up against police brutality and for racial justice now. For all of those reasons, Equality Maine is proud to endorse Joe Biden for president and Kamala Harris for vice president. They are running on the most pro-LGBTQ platform in the history of the United States. They are taking COVID-19 and public health seriously. They know that Black lives matter, and they are ready to get to work to make change. Now, the election is so much bigger than just the state of Maine. Obviously, we can't control what will happen in the presidential and congressional races in other states. But there is one thing that is entirely in our control: who we send to represent us in Washington. Chellie Pingree and Jared Golden have been tremendous leaders for us. Since a pro-equality majority was restored to the U.S. House of Representatives, they have voted to pass the Equality Act, as well as to end Trump's discriminatory ban on transgender folks serving in the military. We need to send them back to Washington, but with more help. And that brings me to the U.S. Senate race. As we all know, Susan Collins has been in the Senate for 24 years. Ample time to demonstrate that she will fight for us. But again and again, she has been a disappointment. Consider the most basic issue we have: non-discrimination. Maine voters approved a comprehensive non-discrimination law at the ballot box in 2005. But it wasn't until 2019, just as she was facing a difficult race for another term, that Collins signed on to the Equality Act to support comprehensive non-discrimination protections at the federal level. We deserve a senator who doesn't take 14 years to follow the will of Maine voters. And we deserve a senator who will do the right thing because it's the right thing, not because it's election season. On other critical bills impacting LGBTQ people, Collins is conspicuously silent. While Chellie Pingree, Jared Golden, and Angus King have all co-sponsored bills to prohibit discrimination in adoption and foster care services, to combat bullying in schools, and to prohibit the harmful practice of conversion therapy, Susan Collins hasn't lifted a finger on any of these important bills. It gets worse. Collins has voted for 96% of Trump's nominees to the federal courts, including nominees who had clear anti-LGBTQ records. And she dismissed our concerns that Brett Kavanaugh would be extremely damaging to our community. But she was wrong. Brett Kavanaugh cast the fifth and deciding vote that allowed Trump's trans military ban to go into effect. And he voted against the historic decision earlier this year that employers can't fire someone just because of who they are. Finally, there's Mitch McConnell. If he remains majority leader, he will continue to prevent every piece of pro-equality legislation from ever getting a vote on the floor of the Senate. And he will continue his efforts to rig the federal courts with right-wing ideologues who will reverse our progress. Susan Collins has been clear that she supports Mitch McConnell. Are you tired of being disappointed by our senator? So are we. And that's why Equality Maine is proud to endorse Sara Gideon for U.S. Senate. Now, you remember all of those awesome bills that we passed over the last 2 years I talked about earlier? Well, as Speaker of the House, Sara led bipartisan majorities in passing all of them. In addition, Sara was the lead sponsor on 2 of Equality Maine's top priority bills: prohibiting insurance companies from excluding coverage for trans health care, and helping veterans who were discharged from the military because of their sexual orientation or gender identity by making them eligible for state veterans benefits. Sara's track record of delivering real results for our community speaks for itself, and we know she will be a fierce advocate for our community in Washington. Over the last 36 years, our community has done the hard work, the signature gathering, the phone calling, the door knocking, to change the hearts and minds of Maine voters. And we have made remarkable progress because of everything that we have done together. After all of that work, we shouldn't have to doubt that our senator will do the right thing. We shouldn't have to doubt that our senator will protect our families and our young people. We shouldn't have to doubt that our senator will protect the integrity of our system of justice. And we shouldn't have to worry that our senator will do whatever Mitch McConnell wants her to do. We won't have to worry about any of that with Sara Gideon. I know this because in addition to my work with Equality Maine, I've served with Sara for the last 8 years in the Maine House of Representatives. I have seen her work tirelessly and collaboratively to pass good public policy for all Mainers. I have seen her do the right thing, even when it was hard, for no other reason than it was the right thing to do. And I know that she would have no problem standing up to Mitch McConnell, Donald Trump, or any other know-nothing bullies that Washington can throw at her, because I saw her stand up to Paul LePage time and time again. Sara is a fighter, and Sara is a leader. Please join Equality Maine in voting for Sara Gideon, and please join me in welcoming her here tonight.
Thank you so much, Matt. It's really nice to see you, and good evening to everyone. Even though we can't be together in person this year, I'm honored to be a part of recognizing the incredible work that Equality Maine and all of you as advocates do every single day. Thank you for making Maine a more inclusive, welcoming, and equal place for everyone. At a time when the basic rights of so many are under attack, it is more important than ever to say unequivocally that all Americans deserve equal rights, regardless of sexual orientation or gender identity, and to fight for that in practice too. That's why here in Maine, we've worked to put those values into law. We passed a conversion therapy ban to protect young people from harm. We banned the so-called gay and trans panic defense, which has been used to excuse violent hate crimes. And we put key provisions of the Affordable Care Act into Maine law to protect LGBTQ plus Mainers from healthcare discrimination. Now with Donald Trump and Senate Republicans working to ram through a new Supreme Court justice nomination just weeks before the court hears arguments on a case that threatens the entire Affordable Care Act and endangers healthcare for millions, it's more important now than ever to make sure we flip the Senate and win back the White House. I have been proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with you as we've worked together in the state legislature, and I'll continue to stand with you and work harder than ever in the Senate. I will champion the Equality Act, fight to outlaw the dangerous practice of conversion therapy, ensure that all Americans, regardless of their gender identity, can serve in our armed forces, and defend the right of every American to access healthcare and love who they love without fear of discrimination. Mainers deserve a champion in the Senate, and I'm honored to have earned Equality Maine's endorsement in this campaign. Thank you so much for your support, and I can't wait to fight with all of you in Washington.
Thank you, Sara. And hello, everyone. I'm Gia Drew, Program Director at Equality Maine, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers. For the past 7 years, I've had the privilege to witness the growth and impact of our work firsthand, engaging thousands of Mainers in person in nearly every corner of this beautiful state. Since we last gathered in the spring of 2019, we've experienced the passing of both Betsy Parsons and Sue Essler, giants of our community. Much of the work we're doing today to serve youth and older adults, including our intergenerational work, is possible because of their tireless dedication and leadership, and we're grateful for their support. In the spring of this year, COVID changed everyone's lives and work, including ours. And while we had to briefly hit the pause button in March, we quickly pivoted to online programming to ensure our community wasn't left out or abandoned. We offered weekly programs called Zooming with Equality Maine, facilitated virtual youth drop-in groups, shifted our vast educational programs to Zoom, participated in Pride across Maine, and even moved our hugely successful summer camp for LGBTQ youth, the New Leaders Project, to an online format. And lastly, with our merger with Sage Maine, advocacy and services for older LGBTQ adults, barely 2 months old, we decided to make check-in calls to every Sage member in Maine. Thanks to the support of our amazing AmeriCorps Vistas and a group of dedicated volunteers, we instituted Sage Calling, successfully reaching hundreds of older LGBTQ adults to say hello and provide a friendly voice at the end of the phone. We made sure folks had food, could get their prescriptions, and felt safe in their residences. Many wanted follow-up calls, so we continued calling folks back every week into June. One of our volunteers, Andy, who's only 17, struck up a friendly relationship with a Sage member and talked for more than an hour each week. Our ad hoc program to combat isolation was a success, reaching Sage members, but it was also quite significant for our volunteers to feel like they were part of something bigger than themselves. It's difficult to know what life and work will be like in 6 months or 3 months, but be assured Equality Maine will be there, providing essential programs to our community and on behalf of the LGBT community, young and old. We are resilient, we are beautiful, diverse, and stronger together. And I think you'll appreciate this video about our intergenerational work.
Loneliness is a problem in our society, and we have a community that's intentional enough that we could actually be a leader. Once again, the gay community leads. Excelsior. The gay camp has evolved over the years, but this last one in 2019, to my mind, was the most successful because we started with a lunch together. My 60s and 70s pals were all over there talking, and I think I went and said hello, but then I said, I don't want to talk to them. I want to talk to the young people. So I went over to a table, and suddenly there was this little group of young people, just incredibly enthusiastic.
So what was it like for you? You were how old when you came up?
I was 12 years old. I was really uncomfortable with the idea of like being associated with my queer identity. And then I went to camp for the first time when I was a sophomore in high school. And then it really ignited, like, no, like that's such a ridiculous thing to want to be digestible to other people.
There wasn't support.
Right.
I was actually beginning graduate school and went to the library and looked up the word homosexuality. And that was my first aha.
One of the eye-openers for me at that camp was talking with a young woman who was from a small town in rural Maine, and she came from a religious family. Being in a bubble of like-minded people, and you kind of forget, might be 2020, but there is still a lot of backward attitudes. And young people are coming up in some of these small towns, and they really need something like Equality Maine and like the summer camps. That is such a respite, just to be able to go there and be yourself. I was that kid in Kennebunk 45 years ago, so I have some idea.
The assumption about your generation that I had was that you didn't know about the history of how the LGBT community fought for equal rights over the years, and that you weren't all that interested. And that felt kind of lonely for me, but that was totally dispelled by going to the camp. And that there really is a deep caring and gratitude that your generation has for what my generation might have been working on all these years.
I find young people have inspired me with their energy and their willingness to take on social justice issues like we used to do.
Feelings about community and my feelings about social justice are all very much connected, and so I try to do as much in terms of conversation and like learning from other people as a way of like social change.
There are times where I get nervous just walking out in public just by myself. I don't want to get hurt. That's what terrifies me. Isolating myself isn't going to help, but all I can do is stay as safe as I can. So I've definitely like felt vulnerable at my age. Do you feel the same at yours?
The short answer is absolutely.
Yeah.
Vulnerable as an older adult. Will my health last? Will I become invisible? Will people not notice me because I'm a certain age? So will I end up being all by myself and isolated?
I never thought of it that way. That's really interesting.
Trying to reduce isolation and trying to create intergenerational supports. We're siloed, and we have to come together. We're stronger together.
There's a lot of dark times. Now that I have role models, what's in my head is like, I could end up like them, and that's what I want to be. I want to be able to grow up. I want to be able to be supportive to whoever might need it.
People of my generation could be of greater help to younger folks when they're struggling with something like dating or suicidality. And then in reverse, I think if I were feeling isolated, I couldn't think of a better group of people to have visit.
Yeah.
Or to try to get me out of the house than some of the people that I've met through New Leaders.
It changed my life. It was just marvelous. I don't know how much I influenced them, but they certainly enhanced my life that day and since.
I think Dale summed it up right there. We are truly stronger together.
Yes.
I am just so inspired by these amazing stories. Oh, it is the care and compassion that our world so needs right now, and it's up to each and every one of us to make sure that these programs continue to thrive.
Yes.
To each and every one of you sitting at home, I ask if you can make a donation right now to support this powerful intergenerational work that Equality Maine is doing across the state. If you are able to make a gift of $1,000, now is the time to raise your virtual placard and click the donate button at the bottom of your screen, or the link that has just been posted in the chat box. We need your support tonight so our youth, like Taj and Rose, can continue to shine and follow in the footsteps of those who have blazed the trail before them. And our older adults, like Steve, Rich, and Dale, can age with grace and a sense of safety, knowing that they will never have to turn back or be alone in the process.
Well, I am so excited to report that we have our first gift of $1,000 from Rich Robinson. Amazing! Hey, thank you so much, Rich. Yes. We've also, before we went live tonight, two of our greatest supporters, Ed Gardner and Dan Crew, have pledged to donate $2,500 each to help folks excited about giving, starting to give with us tonight. I think I heard an audible gasp come from the screen, Tommy, when you said $1,000. I know that's a lot. So I want to ask folks to consider making a $500 gift tonight to fund scholarships for youth to attend our New Leaders Project camp next summer. As we just heard, camp is changing people's lives, and we need you to help make sure that every young person who wants to attend camp next summer is able to participate. If $500 is a level you can give at, please click that donate button or that link in the bottom chat to donate now. Thank you so much.
As Gia mentioned earlier, for the first time ever, we have a full-time AmeriCorps Vista working to coordinate our SAGE programming across the state. A donation of $250 will support our virtual programming and make sure we are ready to go when we can once again meet in person. You know what to do. Click that donate button or the link in the chat box if you can contribute $250 tonight. We know that so many folks are anxious to get back to our monthly SAGE lunches and dinners, ukulele group, movies, meetups, and much more. If a gift of $250 is within your means, please click the donate button or the link in the chat box.
Let's check in with our special correspondent to see how things are going. Oh, clams!
Thank you very much, Thomas. Wow, this is amazing. Our development team is going nonstop right now. I want to make sure we thank some initial donations here. Alyssa from Thomaston, Connecticut, thank you so much for your donation. Rachel in Portland, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Barbara in Littleton, Colorado, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate your donation tonight. Michael Kuhn, the EQME board president, thank you so much for your gift. Jane and Nancy Veazey, thank you. Christopher in Washington, D.C., thank you so much for participating tonight. We really appreciate it. Kate in Newcastle, thank you so much. Kit in Kennebunk, thank you very much for your donation. And Woody and Susan in Portland, thank you so much. We really appreciate it. Oh my goodness, they're rolling in. Keep it going, people. Shaunna in Caribou, way up in Caribou. Thank you so much, Shaunna, for tuning in tonight. Thank you for your donation. Charlotte in Hallowell, we really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Althea, Columbia, Missouri, thank you for your donation tonight. And Denise in Augusta, thank you very much for contributing. We really appreciate it. And while we're on the topic of challenges and donations, I've got something exciting to share. By the power of technology, I'd like to welcome the Executive Vice President of Covetrus and President of their Global Technology Solutions Division.
Hello, clams. It's so nice to be able to join you and Equality Maine on your virtual gala. Thank you for having me, and for everyone watching, I am Georgia Raitt, and my pronouns are she, her, and hers.
It's so nice to have you join us, Georgia. Can you let our viewers know a little bit about Covetrus?
Sure, of course. Now, we are the global market leader in animal health technology and services, and dedicated to advancing the world of veterinary medicine and to empowering veterinary healthcare teams. We were founded right here in Portland and employ more than 300 Maine residents. Now, we care deeply about our employees and are committed to creating and sustaining an inclusive work culture and business that is representative of the world in which we live. Now, working for a company that holds these beliefs so strongly is personally important to me. My son, who, by the way, is amazing, and yes, I'm very biased, is transgender. And my hope is that more companies such as ours truly commit to sustaining an inclusive work culture so that when he finally joins the working world, he can feel safe, accepted, and free to be 100% authentically himself.
I couldn't agree more. It's so important for businesses to support their employees, and when that support can extend to the greater community, the impact is so powerful. So I've been told that you have something exciting to announce to our viewers.
I sure do. Covetrus believes in the work that Equality Maine is doing, and I'm proud to issue a challenge to each one of your viewers tonight. Will you join Covetrus in supporting Equality Maine with a gift of $100 or $50? We will match every donation made at this level tonight up to $7,000.
Wow, thank you so much, Georgia. That is outstanding.
It's really our pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to go so you can get back to raising some more money. Good luck tonight.
Thank you. All right, everyone, you heard it here first. Every $100 and $50 gift will be doubled tonight. So let's click that donate button. Come on, we can do this. That means every $100 gift is really $200. Every $50 gift is $100. I like this math. And we've seen unprecedented progress on our most important priorities over the last 2 years. And with your donation of $100 or $50, you will double your impact to help us keep that momentum going to create real change that makes a difference in all of our lives.
Lastly, it's really important for us to acknowledge that so many of us have been impacted by the pandemic and that giving may be a challenge. We know that many of you still want to do what you can do to help Equality Maine stay strong, and I'm here to tell you that every single donation of every single size makes a difference. So I am personally pledging to donate $25 tonight. Will you join me?
I'm in.
Wherever you go and whatever you do.
I knew I loved the two of you for a reason.
This is so great. We have donations coming in from all over. Let's take a second to thank a few more folks, okay? John Hennessy and Peter, EQME Board, Alex Sara from Sara Public Affairs.
Hold on.
More coming
Hold
in, too.
on. John Howard, thank you, thank you, thank you. Mary Bonato from GLAD, and Jenny Wiggins, thank you.
Thank you so much. This is what Dale meant when she said we are stronger together. Every one of your gifts is going to help Equality Maine keep fighting for each and every one of us, fighting to protect what those before us have fought so hard to win, and fighting to continue to make progress so that those after us can know what full equality truly is. This is where we would normally stand up, cheer like hell, and if we were all together, I'm so sorry, we're all together, so do us a favor if you can. Give a big woohoo at home for us, okay? There we go.
Yes, yes, yes. Thank you all so very much. And of course, that donate button isn't going anywhere, so you can still give at any time tonight or after tonight's event. I also want to add that if you'd like to give by check, Equality Maine staff is putting a mailing address in that chat box right now.
Perfect. Awesome. Now we've got more Gala for you, so let's just keep this going. It's my pleasure to introduce my good friend, Equality Maine's Development Director, Chris O'Connor.
Hello, Equality Maine. As Tommy said, my name is Chris O'Connor and my pronouns are he, him, and his. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight, especially for your support and enthusiasm as we dive headfirst into this new virtual event world. I especially want to thank Tommy, Thomas, and Clams for their willingness to adapt with us. While this is their debut as our Gala host, Tommy and Thomas are no strangers to our Gala stage. You may remember Tommy, our very own Cher from our 2015 Gala, and Thomas, aka Lola from Kinky Boots. at our 2018 event. I love you both so very much, and I'm so grateful for all that you do to support Equality Maine. Speaking of being grateful, I want to say hello and send a huge thank you out to all of our board members who are watching from their homes with their families and their friend pods. Yes, friend pods, it is 2020. Our staff deeply appreciates your commitment to Equality Maine and your leadership, especially in these unprecedented times. Okay, each year the Gala is a chance to celebrate amazing people and organizations that are doing powerful work in our community to impact change. And tonight is no different. I am pleased to get to recognize our 2020 Gala honorees. I'd first like to honor this year's Out Front Leadership Award recipients, who are all doing work on the ground in their communities across Maine to fight oppression and create a safer and more inclusive community for all of us. Bryan Evans is one of the chairs of Central Maine Pride and is a leading voice in Waterville's queer community, always advocating for inclusion and kindness. You can usually find him facing off with protesters during a drag queen story hour or at a council meeting, voicing the concerns of the community. Rene Godess Johnson is the Director of Embodied Equity Consulting, working to address issues of social justice and racial equity within Maine businesses and organizations. Rene is a favorite regular guest at our New Leaders Project each summer. Dax Peters is a former social work intern in our office. He has a deep passion for working with LGBTQ people in recovery and is currently working full-time as a social worker at a local agency. You may also know Dax as DJ Disco Dungeon from one of the many Equality Maine events that he's DJ'd at. Shaunna Ray is a drag performer from Lewiston who's been supporting LGBTQ+ organizations, including Equality Maine, for the past 20 years. She gives of her time every single time she's asked, and most recently hosted our Pride Virtual Piano Bar event this June. And last but not least, Kaylee Wolfe is a community activist and educator who is passionate about helping LGBTQ youth navigate safe and healthy relationships. She has worked for Speak About It and Planned Parenthood, She teaches sex ed around the state and has presented at our youth conference and our New Leaders Camp.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to say thank you to Equality Maine and to everybody that is in Waterville. I share this with you, and let's remember to go vote November 3rd. You know, be kind, vote for kindness, and let's secure our rights because they're in jeopardy right now and we need to do what we can do to change history once again. Vote. Bye.
Thank you so much, Equality Maine, for recognizing my work in social justice and racial equity here in Maine.
Hey everyone, I want to say thank you to Equality Maine for giving me the opportunity to work with and to serve my community. It means so much to be acknowledged by you. Thank you.
Hey everybody, happy Gala. I just wanted to thank everybody for this award. It means so much to me. I wish we could all be together, but we'll be able to do that in 2021. Again, thank you, Equality Maine. Don't forget to register, to vote, and don't forget to vote on November 3rd. Thank you very much. Bye.
Hi everyone, this is such an honor. Thank you so much, Equality Maine, and thank you to Shane Diamond, my first boss in Portland, for nominating me for this award. And thank you to all of my friends and family who have been so supportive. Love you all. Thanks.
Congratulations, and thank you to each of you for all the work that you do for our community. Next, I'm honored to recognize Katie Rutherford, the Executive Director of Franny Peabody Center, with our Cameron Duncan Award for her long-time commitment to HIV and AIDS activism. Katie's dedication to her work in our community is unparalleled. She is a tireless advocate for equality and justice and approaches every ounce of her work with the utmost care and compassion. At the most critical times when resources are being challenged, which is pretty much always in the world of an AIDS service organization, Katie has always provided the leadership to put clients first and make sure that their support and services are never impacted. I am proud to call Katie a friend and know that she is most deserving of this recognition.
Thank you so much to Equality Maine for this incredible honor. I just want to also thank the organizations and agencies that were able to adapt so quickly amidst the COVID-19 pandemic to ensure that critical services were still in place, including our frontline workers and healthcare providers. It feels a little strange accepting an award right now with everything that's going on in the world, but I just want to thank Equality Maine for keeping this event alive and providing this wonderful sense of community for all of us. When I think of the history of HIV and AIDS activism, the heroes that created ACT UP, Treatment Action Group, AMFAR, and organizations like Franny Peabody Center, they are stories from the past. And so often we point to these stories when we talk about how we got to where we are today, how these stories have shaped us, and the positive health outcomes that we've seen result from decades of activism. And yet here we are again in the middle of a pandemic, pleading with people to take science seriously, hosting die-ins and demonstrations reflecting on the lives we've lost, and listening to leaders question the value of a life. When it's hard to have hope, I try and remind myself how much we all need each other. I think about the people I work with every day, the staff and clients at Franny Peabody Center, who fight with unwavering compassion and strength. The rest of this year will surely continue to test us, but I hope everyone can be as loud with their actions as they possibly can and do so with love. The continued fight in the HIV/AIDS arena is also a fight for housing, healthcare, immigration, LGBTQ+ rights, and Black Lives Matter. These are the fights that we all should be in together. Thank you. Wear a mask. Don't forget to vote. And please take science seriously.
Once again, congratulations, Katie. As we've discussed earlier this evening, with the election of Governor Mills and pro-equality majorities in the House and Senate, our advocacy efforts have resulted in major progress towards equality for our transgender and non-binary communities. Our 2020 Partner for Equality Award recipient, MaineTransNet, has been a steadfast collaborator in these efforts, raising up trans voices to articulate why policy change was needed as we've worked to ban the gay and trans panic defense, clarify gender identity protections in the Maine Human Rights Act, remove barriers to care in MaineCare, and most recently successfully advocated for making it easier to change gender markers on birth certificates. Additionally, we have worked together on community education initiatives to improve access to healthcare for trans Mainers and regularly partner with each other to support each other's educational initiatives. Founded 15 years ago, MaineTransNet is a critical support system and lifeline for Maine's trans and non-binary communities. We are proud to recognize them for their contributions to our shared efforts to advance equality for all.
Good evening. On behalf of the Board of Directors, the staff, and the volunteers of MaineTransNet, I'd like to extend our thanks and gratitude for this recognition. You know, so much of our work at MaineTransNet is focused every day simply on helping trans people to keep breathing. And in the years I've had working with this organization, I've had the opportunity to witness a lot of different kinds of breath. Sometimes that breath is joyful, like when a trans person looks in a mirror and sees themselves for the first time. Sometimes it's hard, like when you're trying to go jogging while wearing a binder. Sometimes it's sad and full of grief, like when you've lost a friend to suicide. Sometimes it's this sort of half wheezing, half crying mixture of laughter and tears that happens after you've told a loved one your new name and been accepted. The one I live for, though, is this sigh of relief that seems to happen at the beginning of all of our support groups, where trans people, sometimes for the first or only point in their lives, get to experience this feeling of safety in a space with other people. Over the last couple of years, the trans community has experienced radical changes. On the one hand, we have this influx of visibility that are allowing us to achieve acceptance, validation, and recognition in all corners of our society. On the other hand, that same visibility has also put a target on our backs, and it's been more important now than ever that we have strong partners in our work to make sure that trans people everywhere can live freely as themselves. Equality Maine has been a key partner in our work. Over the last couple of years together, we've been able to achieve great things for the trans community. Most importantly, we've been able to win massive changes in funding and legal recognition for healthcare and gender identity documents that mean that poverty is no longer a sentence for lifelong dysphoria. We've been able to make sure that trans people are both recognized and recorded by our state government, while also passing laws such as this spring that allow trans people to also be respected for the privacy in our lives and not having to have our name changes publicized if we do not feel safe doing so. There are many more fights ahead for sure, and we're glad that we have strong partners like Equality Maine to be there with us another 15 years from now, when I'm sure there'll still be more work to do. So, once again, on behalf of all of us at MaineTransNet, thank you so much, and congratulations on another year, Equality Maine.
Chris, and thank you to each of our honorees for all of the incredible work that you are doing to create a better world for all of us. I want to take a minute to acknowledge and thank all of our event sponsors for supporting tonight's gala. Please join me in thanking our presenting sponsor, the Crew Foundation, our auction sponsor, Embrace Home Loans, and our gold level gala sponsors, MEMIC and the Maine Democratic Party.
It is my pleasure to acknowledge that our annual sponsors for this year's ongoing year-long commitment for Equality Maine and our community, especially through these challenging times. The impact of your support is felt in so many different ways as we continue to strive for a safer and more inclusive Maine for all of us. Since we weren't able to be together in person, someone wanted to send along a greeting to you all at home.
Here at Central Maine Power, we are
friends,
co-workers,
mothers,
fathers,
advocates, allies,
neighbors.
We are proud to be standing with Equality Maine and all of you watching here tonight to secure full equality for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender Mainers.
As a proud sponsor of Equality Maine, we wanted to express our support for this year's virtual gala, Together at Home, and thank you for your work on LGBTQ+ issues throughout Maine. My name is Bill Whitmore, and I lead Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare's team here in Maine. Congratulations to all of this year's exceptional honorees, and we look forward to celebrating in person again next year.
Hey, Carolyn Thomas from Norway Savings Bank here. I just wanted to let you know, we at Norway Savings Bank are proud to stand with Equality Maine. We're with you every step of the way and here to help you live your life in color.
At Bank of America, we recognize the power of diversity. We were the first financial services company in the U.S. to incorporate sexual orientation into our non-discrimination policies. Since then, we've continued to foster a culture of inclusion and have been resolute in our commitment to the LGBT community. So we strongly support the mission of Equality Maine and applaud them for their focus and commitment.
I'm Jody Knopfsinger, an attorney at Berman & Simmons. Our firm is proud to support Equality Maine and the great work that they do for the LGBTQ community. As legal advocates, our firm stands with those who seek equality, equity, and justice. Although we cannot celebrate in person this year, we wish you the best of luck with your gala and the important work that you will do for us in the future.
Hi, I'm David Pease, Senior Vice President, Director of Talent, Diversity, and Inclusion for Bangor Savings Bank. Bangor Savings Bank is thrilled and honored to be a corporate sponsor for Equality Maine. This is such a great evening where the LGBTQIA++ can come together. This is a great time to just celebrate and say thank you, and we hope you have a great night.
Hello, I'm John Rand, co-chair of the Friends Resource Group at Hannaford. The Friends Resource Group advocates for Hannaford's LGBTQ associates, customers, and their allies by promoting a welcoming community where all are included, supported, and respected. We want our associates and customers to know that Hannaford welcomes your whole selves into our stores and offices. While we all wish we could be celebrating at this Equality Maine Gala in person, Hannaford is thrilled to once again participate in this important gathering to bring awareness to LGBTQ issues and help support Maine's largest LGBTQ organization. We're grateful for all the ways Equality Maine has supported our business and our associates and look forward to coming together again when it's safe to do so. I'm so excited to be with you here tonight for this virtual celebration, and thank you for joining Hannaford in supporting Equality Maine.
Point Healthcare.
Yes, bravo. Thank you. So let's check in with Clams. I think she has something she wanted to share with us.
Oh, sorry about that. I was bidding in our online auction. Thanks again to all of our sponsors. When I'm not Clams, I actually work at IDEX Laboratories, and I'm the co-chair of our LGBTQ employee resource group, PRIDEX. I'm so proud of their support of Equality Maine. So, back to bidding. Before we start to wrap up our evening together, I wanted to be sure you knew about some of the amazing things that are being auctioned off in our first ever online auction. The bidding is getting fired up, and there's something for everyone. There is art, dining, adventure, booze, self-care, and so much more. So make sure you check it out. The link is right below the live stream on our website, and it's being shared in the chat as I speak. Bidding closes on Monday at noon, so you know, bid high and bid often. Tommy and Thomas, back to you.
Thank you, Clams. I've got my eye on that board of directors wine basket. It's going to be a long winter. Well, we've come to the end of the night. Before we wrap things up, there's a few more folks that we want to thank for their generous donations tonight. Dave and Ed in Falmouth, thank you. Russ and Bangor, thank you. And Lee and Colin in Cape Elizabeth, thank you.
I've got a couple too here. Abigail in Augusta, thank you. Sky Rugby in North Dakota, thank you very much. And Lindsay in Portland, thank you. Now remember, everybody, it's never too late to make a donation. We want to once again thank everyone who worked so hard to make tonight happen. The Gala Planning and Auction Committees, all of our auction donors, Ryan and the Headlight AV team here in our studio, thank you. All of our special guests, our sponsors, our host committee, and of course, all of you. Thank you for being together at home with us from across the country and for always supporting Equality Maine.
As we say goodnight, please take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Stay safe and healthy. Wear your mask and please, please, please vote.
What he said. Thank you for allowing us into your homes tonight, everybody. What a wild experience it's been. And we hope sooner than later we will be able to gather in person again. Now we've got one final surprise in store for you. This is usually the point in the evening when you head over to the Portland House of Music for the Gala after party. But tonight is different.
On behalf of Tommy, Clams, and myself, and everyone at Equality Maine, thank you and good night. Viva and the reinforcements, take it away.
Yes.
Thank you, Tommy and Thomas. You two are amazing tonight, as always. And thank you, all of you at home, for your ongoing and especially tonight, but your ongoing support of Equality Maine. I think this year of all years has taught us how important it is to have organizations like Equality Maine advocating for us, keeping us together, and keeping us safe. It feels so good to be here at Portland House of Music with the band. We're gonna wrap this party up the right way. Let's see those living room dance moves. Love you all. Thank you for coming to the Equality Maine Gala. Let's do this. Birds flying high, you know how I feel. sun in the sky. You know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by. You know how I feel. It's a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Oh yeah, I feel good. Yeah. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. How I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on a tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn and a new day. It's a new life for me, and I'm feeling good. And I'm feeling good. Dragonfly out in the sun, you know what I mean. Butterflies all having fun.